What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Mystic Watch, and today we got a brand new video. So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about the #1 most important, I would say the literal best character in the entire game, and she's a 3-star. So Alice Rondo, Nat 3-star, who I just upgraded to 4-star, is currently, with the content that we have in the game at this point, the best character in the game. And if you're not familiar with why, or if you're not keeping up with I guess like the community side of slime, the main reason why she's so important is because of Conquest. And I guess I'll explain Conquest first, because Conquest is the key to advancing your gear, right? After a certain point in progression, what ends up happening is you'll get to the point where you 4-star ability released or ability awakened, whatever it's called, everyone, right? You manage to get everyone up to a certain point, and you're like, well, what else do I do? And the thing you're going to settle upon is Conquest, because now you're going to be like, well, I haven't really worked on my gear, so let's start making some gear. You got your Forge level 3 or level 4, whatever it is, and you're like, yeah, I want to make some 3-star gear. And then you take a look, and you're like, okay. You do the first mission, you're like 130k, I can do that. Then you walk over to do normal, and you're like 206k. What? And then you might be at like 220k or 230k, and you still won't be able to beat this mission. And you're like, what is going on? Why is this so hard? Well, to be fair, the mission is just abnormally hard for no reason. And like I showed you here that there's an expert, there's a master level above this, right? So there is one more difficulty above this one. And what ends up happening is you need to be able to beat normal to get the minimum requirement to craft natural 3-star weapons. And the reason for that is, yes, while you can upgrade 2-star weapons and armors to 3 stars, the difference between those and natural 3-stars stuff is that they have an elemental affinity, which means that your units will end up having a bonus for wearing them. If I go under equipment, you'll see here that I got like purpley stuff, and I got an effect, dark characters increase it by 10%. Now, the reason why this is important is because this is the main way you progress, and Conquest is so hard that the strat ended up becoming to use Alice. And little Alice over here is going to be the savior of your hopes and dreams, because she has a skill, Sad Russian Doll, chance to stun a single target. And I went over using Alice in my previous video on how to defeat the normal Ravenous Chaos, that dark Conquest mission, and I went over Alice, but I thought I'd make a general video on Alice because maybe some people don't care about that specific mission, and they don't know about what she can do, and it's why it's important to start maxing her out early. When I say maxing her out, nothing else is relevant besides the battle skill. Having the ability to stun a target pretty much cancels, like, it's just insane, right? It is just insane. But the problem ends up being is that it starts at level 1 at 10% chance to stun, and it caps out at level 30 or 30%. But the problem is getting her material to upgrade her is pretty hard. Like, I have so many of the normal material, but I'm getting pretty unlucky on getting the like, I could do this, but it feels like a waste. Like, it feels really bad to do this, right? So I'd rather just keep doing it until I get enough of the body and spirit empowerment. This rainbow one, which has the lowest drop rate from Predator, but you know, it is what it is. So why is this so good? Well, let's just show you in action what Alice can actually do. And the main thing you want to keep in mind is that it's not really important to do any of this stuff. Like, I only did her first 2 just because I had the material lying around and it's really easy. But like, I really don't have the material to spare to do the rest of this stuff. I still have like, I am nowhere near done maxing out my units, right? Like my core set of units. So Alice is going to have to come later, and there's plenty of 4-star units that I want to max out as well. But let's show what it is like. So coming over to Quest and coming over to Conquest, the strat is, and I've done the bottom 3 on normal so far, and I'm going to kind of continue doing all of them. Actually, before I continue, I'm going to show you guys a really good Reddit post that I recommend that you save the image for, but you know, I got to give credit where credit's due. It has nothing to do with me. So if you take a look here on Reddit, the user something least the goat. There we go. This person went ahead and made a little guide on which turn you actually have to use Alice stun. So for example, on Milim, on Ifrit, you use it on turn 1. On the light elemental one, you use on turn 2. Same as Sky Dragon, and then on whatever rock stone golem dude and orc disaster, use it on turn 6. And it's much easier to do the ones on turn 1 because you don't have to go through the entire fight and, you know, then roll a dice. You can just do it immediately. So I'm going to give you an example of what it looks like with and without. So let's go to one where I've done. And keep in mind that this has nothing to do with normal, beginner, expert, master. This is a strategy that works on every single difficulty. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what do you do besides that? Like, what's the point, right? Like, what does this actually do? I still need to beat it. And that's kind of the thing where how did I beat this one? I think I just did it normally without caring. But let's see, do I have another Alice? Yeah, this looks like a good one. So we'll use this one. And we'll show what it looks like without stunning Milim. And then I'll try to stun Milim. I'll just go for the stun immediately because it's only a roll. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind on how the game mechanic functions, right? Like, we're talking about, like, how does the actual, like, resetting part work? And the way this happens is you can reset any turn as long as the next turn doesn't start yet. So you can do your attacks, and while Milim is doing her animations, you can reset the game and you'll come back to the beginning of that turn, which means you can redo any of the moves you did. However, that does not apply to skills. Any skills applied are permanently applied. So that's the big thing to keep in mind, is that any skills that are applied are permanently applied. However, if you miss the stun, and for example, I'm going to go for the stun here. Another thing to keep in mind is that her stun starts off at 35. You need to get it to 30 cost by getting it to level 4 at the bare minimum. From there on out, it's just quality of life. The higher percentage you have it at, you know, the less resets you're going to have to do. I'm going to go for the stun here, and I'm going to hit activate, and I'm going to miss, right? So we'll just do this run as if, like, this is just like a failed run, right? And let's speed this up. So you see that the attack rate up, pierce rate up. Hits like a truck. You are not going to be able to complete this normally, right? Already on turn 2, I'm pretty much about to die. But you go here, you retire, and you just try again. Retiring will not consume any stamina, so you don't have to worry about that. You can do this as many times as you need to. Is this a good game design thing? No. But at the same time, like, we are cheesing this content earlier than we would normally be able to do so. So you have to look at it from that perspective. And thankfully, once you beat it, the goal of this is to beat it with all the all the missions complete, so you don't have to so you can parallel process. And you don't have to beat it with a team higher, as long as a team in the future has higher EP than it, then it's perfectly fine. So, Goku. Oh, perfect. That couldn't worked out any better. So stun, she will not get her boost. And you just do the fight. So it says this, but it doesn't actually do it. So yeah, like she missed her turn. She doesn't have any boosts up. There we go. And yeah, you just you literally just go through the fight now. So I don't have any units that are strong to space. Technically I have Trainee, but I haven't gotten her up. So if I didn't stun, my Benimaru would just be dead right now. Yeah, like those would be like 3,000 damage hits going, just completely melting me. The order doesn't matter. Actually not that big of a deal because I don't care too much about winning this. But I will say that another general strategy to Conquest, and not this particular Conquest, is that you just want like units that can change colors. Bum bum ba-dum. And it's really this, right? It's like, this is the general strategy. You have to get lucky. Like, she could have just killed my Benimaru, but it didn't happen, right? So maybe I can get lucky here. Oh, that's the wrong Benimaru. Let's see how much damage this does. And another piece of advice is that you can reset here to get a crit. So like, let's say I got a crit there, but let's say I didn't get a crit. You could simply, like, right when you see the number, before the next turn starts, right? If the next turn starts, it's too late. You can go, you can like close out of the mission, open the game back up again, and it'll just bring you back to the start. So I'm gonna stop here because I can tell I'm going to lose at this point, and nothing wrong with that. But that's just the that is the strategy, and that's pretty much why Alice is so important, because there are key turns on so many of these boss fights that you need to just stun them. You just need to stun them, and what ends up happening is you still need your team to be at a general point, like a general power level in the game, right? You can't just like be like, oh, I stunned and I still can't beat it. Well, you need to get stronger at that point. If you stun and you still cannot win, your team is too weak. And there will be other things you can do prior to using this strat just to get your team up to a point where this is relevant. And keep in mind that going beyond this, so like going to expert and going to master, is nearly impossible without having the type advantage elements. It's probably, eventually we'll get creeped up in terms of overall scaling to the point where we can do it just fine no matter what team we have, but the game hasn't progressed enough and hasn't given us enough things to do that. Now, I'm not saying, I think there are experts that are doable even if you don't have type advantage units. For example, you can probably do expert just exclusively with the free-to-play Benimaru. If you have them at level 100, it'll make things a lot easier. Yeah, so you can do this Ruthless Paladin with Benimaru, and like I didn't stun at all, and I managed to beat it normally. I think this is one of the easier fights that you'll be able to do with Benimaru, but I don't care because I don't have a team that's above 238k, meaning that I can't parallel process it to begin with. So it's like, I personally don't care. Like, I'm sure you can just do it anyways and farm it manually, but I have no intention of doing that. I'll use my stamina other places. I don't play that much to actually sit down and do resets for over and over and over again. For the most part, I'm just autoing stuff. I'm autoing, getting my gear up, getting my stuff up, and then I'll genuinely play when I do stuff like this. So hopefully that explains why Alice is so important. Reminder that you really need to get her ability up to level 4 minimum. Getting her up to level 4 will reduce the cost from 35 to 30. You'll see here, points required. And this is the bare minimum you need to stun someone on turn 1. And then from there, it's even higher. And you saw that I managed to get on turn 2, which is relatively lucky, right? Like, with my odds, I shouldn't hit it for like a 1 in 4, 1 in 5 chance. But it's just resetting. Sometimes you get on turn 1. Sometimes you won't get it for like 10 resets in a row. But that's kind of how you cheese. But at the same time, like, it's what we have. So, best of luck to everyone. I will say that leveling up, ability awakening release only is relevant if you want to actually use Alice as like a unit to, like, if you don't want her to be a dead unit, right? Like, if you want to swap into her and have her tank a couple hits for you, at that point, like, that's when you invest into Alice. But that's the general strat. So there you go. Alice, Rondo, best unit in the game, just because of that stun. And the moment someone else comes with a stun, replaced. I'm sure if a Nat 5-star came out with a stun, it'd probably start at a significantly higher base percentage. Maybe it would start at like base 30 and then go up to there to like 50%. It'll make it a lot easier. And at that point, that unit would be worth summoning for. Yeah, that's the free-to-play guide. So good luck. Hopefully resets work better for you, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.